The TD-17 module has, I believe it is 70 preloaded kits. Everything from ambient back to traditional. They cover a lot of genres. Some of them are pretty wild. Some of them are pretty classic. They are very good quality sounds. I use these sometimes to just get inspiration after I warm up. I'll just scroll through some of the kits and play different things, see what the sounds are like. And a lot of times tapping on some things kind of triggers something with me and I get going to play. So we're going to start at the beginning, and kit number 1 on the TD-17 is called Big Wood Shell. I also will be doing some muting and unmuting of my microphone so that you don't hear me whapping on the pads, but that's a big kick drum, huh? And of course, this little guy was tested and working, and there we go. Now it is working. Okay, so the Big Wood Shell, and what I will do is I'll tap the assign button on the module and that will tell me which piece of equipment it is. So if I wonder what that is, I can go back. It'll tell me the sample number. The kick drum, for example, is 017 and it's called Off Mic Kick. And of course within there you can mess with the settings, you can tune the drums, you can add, but we're just going to kind of go through the preset kits as they are stock out of the box and see what we got. And we have a huge kind of a slappy kick drum, a pretty deep snare, pretty deep toms, a dry dark ride. Okay, 3 crashes. This is a splash that I added on, and I've noticed that it does change things up with what the crash is triggering. So I'm going to mute my mic and just play around a little bit. All right, and as promised, that is a huge kit. That's a fun kit. Let's go do another. This is kit number 2. It's called Acoustic All Wood. This is actually kind of my default kit. This is what I play on the most. Kind of a nice, deep, punchy kick. Poppy snare. And you do get a nice rim shot sound when you hit the rim and the head at the same time. So let's check out Acoustic All Wood. Let's see if I can get this to stay in one. Okay, there we go. That is all wood acoustic. It is all wood. That's a mahogany snare. It's a beach kick drum. Maple toms. Now you hear I have a closed hi-hat on there, and that's something I go over in the review of this kit and a couple other videos. That is one of the tricks. I don't use the rim sounds very often on my toms. So sometimes I will reassign them so that I can do double bass work. You can also split things off. You can split the rim sound off of the head of the tom, and you can use it to trigger a cymbal, another drum pad, but that's a whole other story. But I do have a couple videos up on the channel about splitting and about this CY5 cymbal. What's up, you guys? Oh my gosh, listen, my first super chat, super thanks. Thank you so much. Here, I have to go do this. Very cool. All right. Look, everybody, I believe that is the first official dollar I've made on YouTube. So that's an honor. Thank you so much. I appreciate it very much. Okay. Let's see. We were talking about the rim and hi-hats over here, obviously. But I put a closed hi-hat over here. So when I'm doing double bass pedal, it'll keep the hi-hat closed for me. So little trick there for you. All right, let's go into the third kit. This is called Shallow Mini at Cafe. So, you know, it kind of feels like you're at a cafe having an espresso and relaxing. So we have, I keep getting paranoid. I'm making sure my mic is on. A really tight little snare. Okay, kind of a deep punchy kick, mid to high toms, almost a trashy kind of cymbal. I did, okay, so this CY5 is plugged into the auxiliary input, and I set it to be a China, and the TD-17 knows that it's there. So typically it will just, a lot of times it'll be a splash cymbal. But for this kit, it has appropriately given me a China, which I like very much. And I'd say when I'm selecting a kit, probably the kick and the snare are the biggest things that I listen to. I like a deep punchy kick drum. I like a tight poppy snare with some cack to it. So that's what I usually go for. So when I get these different types of kits in here, like this Shallow Mini, it's really tight. So it kind of inspires me to tighten up my playing a little bit. So let's fiddle around with this one a bit. Oh no. There we go, mouse. All right. Oh my gosh. All right, that is the Shallow Mini kit. Look at this cute little guy on my screen. Thank you, Rebecca. That's awesome. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Look at that. $5. I'm gonna get with $5. I think Burger King has those flat, like sourdough bun burgers now. Something about me, I really like those. All right, let's get into another kit. This is, oh my gosh, this is Rock Aggressive. That sounds pretty aggressive. Deep shell kick. And a lot of this, so that's a pretty different sound. That's the head of the snare. The rim is quite a higher pitch. On the last kit, it was kind of the opposite. Okay, so the Rock Aggressive, this is a brass snare, which actually I have a brass shell for my acoustic kit. It's a really shallow one, but it's brass. It's a really nice bright sound. I have mine tuned up quite a bit higher. Nice round tom. I like that big deep floor tom. Those are maple. That's a 16, 12, 13, 16. Okay, another China this time. Let's fiddle around with this. Okay, that's a cool kit. It's huge. I was getting a lot of kind of, I don't know if they're misfires or the way I'm hitting it, but it wasn't very consistent with the head and the rim and getting the rim shot sound. So, quite possibly user error. But that is that's a big, huge kit. All right, moving on. Warm Jazz. Why do I have cross stick disabled? So there's a setting in the module called cross stick. That allows you to play what would be a traditional cross stick. Currently that was off. I probably played with that at some point and decided not to have it on for some reason. So that is with the cross stick on. And off it just plays the rim sound. I want the cross stick on, especially for jazz. It's a tighter kit, and that's just when you're on the drum kit page. It's the bottom left corner, X stick. So, warm jazz kit, nice dry trashy ride. That's kind of a huge cymbal for the splash. That is a sizzle ride. Okay, interesting. I like that. It gives me two rides. This one has sizzle rivets in it, which are literally, you know, in analog world, they drill holes and they put rivets in there and they just kind of bounce around and vibrate with the cymbal. So I like that. That's interesting. That's a bright crash. Okay, nice present, clear toms. Okay, kind of a boomy basketball kick drum. Jazz kits are traditionally a bit smaller, so usually this is a 18-inch kick. Yeah, so usually, you know, 20, 18, maybe even 16-inch kicks with jazz kits. And of course the snare, pretty tight for a jazz snare. I do have settings here. Look, I can change the strainer. This is tight. I can go medium, I can go loose. And you can hear a difference with the strainer tension. So that would be the actual snare wires that go underneath the drum. You can tighten those up or loosen them by settings in the module. That's loose. That's tight. Interesting. I think I'm going to go kind of in the middle, or just actually more loose. Again, a deeper rim shot sound. So let's play around with this guy a little bit. Okay, so here's another thing about me. You know, I like flat top buns for hamburgers. I also like lo-fi music quite a bit. And that old school, it's like you spend all this money on all this gear to get it to sound amazing. And then with lo-fi music, I have, you know, plugins that I will run through everything, and it will make everything sound like, you know, old analog warped, left in a hot storage unit, trashy garbage. And it's like, that's exactly what I want. This kit, you noticed I switched from playing just actual kind of a jazz pattern and over to more of a funk pattern because I really like the way that kit sounds for like kind of a vintage lo-fi kit. All right, very versatile. And so that's why I play around with these because, you know, if I get bored, I've always got stuff to try, and then I get inspired to do different things. So it's a good way to go. This is kit number 6. This is called Kick It and Dance. And here's yet another thing about me. I'm a pretty good dancer. You've probably seen a couple of little dance clips in my videos, and, you know, it's kind of a gift. I don't want to melt everyone's brains right now in the middle of a stream because, you know, yes, that's not why we're here. We're not here to just praise my dancing. We're really here about the TD-17. So this is Kick It and Dance, EDM, electronic dance music. Okay, super tight, thumpy, deep kick drum. Big snare. Lots of reverb, big. Okay. Let's hear it. that's a fun kit. Oh, goodness. Rock and roll, y'all. Kit number 7. This is, oh God, speed metal's coming up. Hang on for that. This is called Bouncy Groove. And what do we got? I like that. Oh, this is user sample. I don't remember putting this in here. I seriously have no idea. Okay, so the module is equipped with an SD card slot. One of the interesting capabilities of this kit, you can put just a WAV file, MP3, whatever, onto an SD card, insert it into the module, and you can pull that sound into the module, and you can assign it to a pad. Apparently, at some point, I put that kick drum sound onto, I don't know that I did. But, you know, what are we going to believe? The computer or the drummer? The drummer. So at any rate, this is it's a kind of a vibey kick drum. Oh my gosh. A really deep brass snare, way super deep. Okay, kind of trashy cymbals, big, deep, tight. Okay, let's see what we got. That is an interesting kit. It's almost like a fusion of kind of not jazzy, dance, kind of a dance kick drum with a big, deep, trashy kit on top. Very interesting. Okay, now we are going to enter the world of speed metal, which, listen, those guys have amazing chops. Not my particular genre, but I have big respect for guys that can play that fast, that crazy, and for that amount of time. It is chops for sure. So rock on, my speed metal brothers and sisters. Okay, this one has a kick drum. Let's see. So we've got a mahogany. I like that snare. It's bright, it's poppy, it's got some tone to it. It's got some washiness on the snares. A super tight, deep, punchy kick drum, which if you're... that's what you want. All right, there's my take of that. That's a pretty cool kit. I couldn't figure out what the splash was. That's like a huge deep china. All right. Okay, this is called 80s Revival. Another thing about me. I grew up in the 80s. Super deep punchy kick. Oh, there is that like electronic kind of almost Casio keyboard snare. That's aluminum snare. Okay. All right, let's check it out. Man, I wish I could rickroll you guys right now, but copyright won't allow it. Bummer. Okay. Let's do one more. Kit number 10 is Bright Room Rehearsal Studio. So I'm expecting to sound like a studio with hard surfaces. This environment is more padded. I've got some panels up on the wall. So if I wanted to get that sound of a bright, probably wood covered studio walls, this might be a kit I would go with. Okay. I think that's a pretty good start off before like things start exploding. Okay. See, I have to keep watching stuff. I'm not used to watching stuff. I'm used to just like coming down here whenever, doing my thing. I don't care how many takes it takes. I can always sit down and edit things. So, but I'm also not used to it. I'm paranoid about things just like randomly shutting off. So that's what I'm watching. But I think, it looks to me like the stream has continued. So that's wonderful. Okay, Chris only kept a few of the preset kits. So I'm wondering, deleted most of the samples to free up space. So did you load in like a whole bunch of kits to replace that? I actually haven't really looked to see like what the actual amount of space is in the module. So Chris, let us know. Here, we'll hang out for a minute and see if Chris, if you're still on, if you did that. And again, as it stands, pardon me, the module goes up to kit 70, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 80, 90, 100. So there are 70 preloaded kits, and then you have room to put 30 more kits inside there. So I guess to free up space, but I'm wondering what sounds you used in place of the ones that were loaded. Another thing that I do with past drum kits, electronic kits that I've had, the module has had kind of sounds. They're fine for practicing, but not anything that I would record, not anything that I would really gig with, certainly not gig with. So I got in the habit of triggering software, and I connect a USB cord to the computer, and it runs MIDI signal to the computer, and I just record MIDI data. And then within that software, I use Superior Drummer 3. I can assign different kits and stuff like that to it. So, but the Roland sound module has very good qualities, kits built into it. The sounds are on point. It's not just the same sound. They talk about prismatic sound modeling is one of the things I remember learning about from the review that I did of this kit. And it basically kind of feeds off the accumulated nuances of the kit. So what cymbals are still shimmering, and what toms are still ringing a little bit. And so you get a little bit different sound every time you hit one of any of the pads. And that's kind of dependent on other things. So Superior Drummer triggered with MIDI is I love the sounds in here, but I actually like the Superior Drummer sounds. I just think they're like a little bit better quality. They're like the best mics recording the best drums by the best sound engineers in the best studios kind of thing. But Roland sounds, I'm very, very pleased with that. Okay, so Chris says that the internal module device, the internal storage of the module only holds 32 gigs, and a sample will eat that up fast. That is very true. And many do use VSTs. If you have, certainly if you have custom stuff you want to put in there. But yeah, that's, I don't necessarily use them myself for space requirement within the module. But yeah, I could see if you're loading in, wave files, good quality wave files are not tiny little files. So I could see loading in, several of those could eat up some gigabytes pretty quickly. I have, a separate SSD M.2 drive on my machine that is just sound libraries. And I want that drive to have plenty of space and not be trying to do anything else. So that just fuels the sounds for the different VSTs that I use. And it lets the C drive do its thing, and then it just pulls the sounds from the other drive. So again, like I said, Superior Drummer. Chris, what do you use for a VST? I use Superior Drummer 3, and then I also have access to like the IK Multimedia. I bought like the full studio thing, so I have their, I think it's Mobo drums that I have access to. But for me, for recording things, virtual instruments are an unbelievably great way to go, because I can just record MIDI data, and then 5 years later I can decide I want a different drum kit. But we've gone kind of way off of and away from the TD-17 kit, which, again, to bring it back to that, has really good sound quality. I jam with my buddies with this thing. I would do some recording with it, and I would do some gigging with it. So just a little side note. So Let's see if there's anything that you would like to hear in the future, if there are any features that you would like to kind of dive into while we're sitting here in real time and I can fiddle with this thing and we can listen to it. Drop that down in the comments section and I will certainly address that. Let me know how you like this format. I really also, one of the reasons I went to Livestream was to just kind of not be like the scripted camera guy, because that's, you know, not as fun. I'd rather be just kind of the dork that I am and hang out with you all. So let me know how the format is, if you like it. My plan right now is to go through more of the kits and then, you know, just kind of go from there. But I really like being able to just kind of sit down and play, chat with you guys a little bit. We can learn about stuff. I'm not the only one who plays around with this. So anything else before we sign off? Put it in chat. I'll give you a moment. And I will jam us out for about a minute. And then I will see you in the next one. Listen, we made it. Thank you so much for being here for the very first Skittle stream. And there will be more to come. All right, I will mute up if you want to see anything in the module. The kits can sound a lot better on the TD-17 if you go in and tinker with the many settings. And that is absolutely right, Chris. There are... one of these, I will have a camera tight to the module so you can see, but there's a lot. You can adjust muffling, tuning, reverb. There's all kinds of effects internal. There's like, I want to say it's like 30 or around 30-ish, you know, effects, chorus, reverb, delay, all that kind of thing. So you can really change up the kits. I would also encourage you, you can back up your settings on the module to the SD card before you go starting to turn a bunch of knobs and replace sounds. Back up your TD-17 to an SD card, because I've done that. I got in there and I started playing around when I added the splash cymbal, and I would bump something else and I would change the tom to something different that I had no desire for it to be. And I would, I hit a point where I had to do a reset to default because I had screwed the sounds up so unbelievably backwards that I just needed to wipe it clean, which was fine because I didn't spend, you know, hours and hours customizing each of the kits. Like I said, I am quite often in kit number 2, and that, for me, for what I play and how I play most of the time, that's a great kit for me. I like the sound of it. Again, that deep punchy kick that's tight. It's got a little tick to it. And then a nice tight crack poppy snare. But it's a lot of fun to come down and get some weird stuff. Here, let's find a weird one that will... This is Ambient. And it just does some crazy stuff in it. Here, let me shut my voice up. And you can hear this kit a little bit. So there you go. A lot of interesting stuff in there. Okay, we'll wrap this up, and thank you so much for being here. And go ahead and click over into whatever YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy the most next. Plenty of videos up on the channel, some gear reviews, some drum how-to, some drum lessons. If you're not already subscribed, we'd love to have you. I appreciate all your support as the channel grows. It is a very cool thing. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon.